Once upon a time, in a small town called Riverside, there lived a poor family. They had a small wooden house by the river. The boy's name was Michael. His sister was named Emily. Their mother was sick. Their father had left years ago. The family had no money. They had no food. They had faith. One cold morning, their mother grew weaker. Michael held her hand. She looked at him with tired eyes. She whispered, "Michael, promise me you will take care of Emily." Michael knelt by her side. He felt a sharp pain in his chest. He looked up at the gray sky. He said, "I promise, Mother." She closed her eyes. She died. Michael sat on the riverbank. He hugged his knees. Tears fell on his dusty shoes. A crow cawed in the dead branches. The wind blew cold and hard. He felt alone. He remembered his mother's voice. He wiped his tears. He stood up. He whispered, "I will not fail." In his hand, he held his mother's locket. He opened it. Inside was a small paper. It had his father's handwriting. It read, "My son, please protect Emily. You are strong. I will watch from afar." Michael's eyes grew wide. He did not know this letter was there. It felt strange and sad. He folded it gently. He put it in his pocket. He felt hope and fear, both. Michael looked at Emily. She stood by the house door. Her face was pale. She said, "I am cold." Michael took off his thin jacket. He gave it to her. He said, "Here, Emily, wear this." She smiled softly. He smiled back. He felt a warm glow in his heart. He knew he must work hard. He must keep his promise. Michael woke early the next day. He walked to the main street. He saw a man handing out papers. He asked, "Sir, may I sell papers?" The man nodded. "Yes. Boy, here are 10 papers. Sell them for $1. Michael took the papers. He ran down the street. He called, "Buy a paper, only $1." At each corner he cried. He sold 8 papers. He got 80 cents. He bought 1 loaf of bread. He split it with Emily. They ate slowly. Each bite tasted of hope. Days passed into weeks. Michael sold papers each morning. He collected bottles each evening. He traded bottles for food scraps. Emily helped him where she could. She tied papers. She danced to cheer him. Michael held Emily close each night. They had no lights. They slept on a torn blanket. They had no food. They had faith. One night, Michael heard a whisper at the door. He froze. He crept forward. He saw a tall man in a dark coat. The man held a small box. He handed it to Michael. He said, "For your promise." Then he vanished into the night. Michael stared at the box. He opened it carefully. Inside was a small key and a note. The note read, "Find the old library." Old. Michael's heart pounded. He did not know why. He put key and note in his pocket. He closed his eyes. He prayed silently. The next day, Michael walked to the old library at dusk. The building was dark and silent. He pushed the heavy doors. They creaked. He stepped inside. Dust floated in the lamplight. Rows of old books stood like ghosts. Michael looked around. He found a locked desk. He used the key. The lock clicked. He opened the drawer. Inside was a thin book, titled English for Beginners. He pulled it out with trembling hands. The words were new and strange. He held the book close. He felt a spark of light in the dark room. Michael took the book home. Emily saw it and gasped. She said, "What is this?" Michael showed her the cover. He said, "It is for me. It is for us." Emily hugged him. She said, "You are strong." Michael smiled. He sat by the river each night. He opened the book. He read the first word. He read the next. You. His tongue stumbled. His head ached. He kept going. He wrote words in the dirt. He wrote them on pieces of scrap paper. He practiced until his voice was clear. He spoke the words to Emily. She repeated them. They laughed through tears. Soon the neighbors heard him teach Emily. A few children gathered by the riverbank. Michael felt shy at first. He said, "Come here. I will teach you." They sat on broken crates. He wrote words on the ground with a stick. The children learned fast. They smiled. They clapped. Michael felt joy. He found purpose. One morning, a newspaper reporter named Sarah arrived. She watched Michael teach. She asked, "Would you talk to me?" Michael nodded. Emily stood behind him. Sarah wrote notes. She took pictures. She asked, "Why do you teach here?" Michael said, "I had no food. I had faith. Now I have hope. I teach so others can hope." Sarah smiled. She thanked him. She left. The next day, a reporter article appeared in the big city paper. The headline read, "Young teacher by the river teaches for free." People in Riverside read the story. A kind man named Mr. Adams sent Michael a dozen books. A baker sent fresh bread each morning. A clothing shop gave Emily shoes. Michael's small school grew. He had desks made of wood planks. He had chalk from the hardware store. He had students who paid nothing. He had faith. Years passed. Michael grew tall and strong. Emily grew into a bright young woman. She finished high school. She smiled at Michael each day. Michael never forgot his promise. He never forgot his mother's voice. He never forgot the mysterious man. He never forgot the note. At age 25, Michael opened his own school building. It stood on a green lawn. It had white walls and big windows. Inside were shelves of books. Inside were desks and chairs. Inside were children's smiles. Michael spoke at the opening ceremony. He said, I once had no food. I had just faith. This school is for you. Learn with joy." The crowd cheered. Tears shone on faces. Emily stood by his side. She handed him a rose. He smelled it deeply. By age 30, Michael was known across the state. He traveled to many towns. He spoke in halls and churches. He taught teachers how to teach. He wrote books about simple English. He remembered the little book from the library. He never lost his humble heart. He gave every cent he made back to the school. He gave scholarships to poor children. He gave food baskets to hungry families. He gave Pycar. One quiet evening, Michael sat alone in an empty classroom. He looked at the old chalkboard. It still held the first words he taught. I, you, he, she. He traced them with his finger. He thought of his mother. He thought of Emily. He thought of the mysterious man. He thought of his promise. He felt tears come, but they were tears of joy. Michael stood and faced the empty room. He spoke softly. Faith can feed the soul when food is gone. A single spark of hope can light 1,000 lives. He closed his eyes. He breathed in deep. He opened the window to let the cool night air in. He whispered, "What will you do with your faith?" Faith can move mountains. Faith can warm frozen hearts. Faith can guide the lost home. What will you do with your faith?